Hi, everybody. Welcome to Module 6 for Future Cities. This week, we talked about transforming urban America, the transforming urban landscape in the country. We talked about techno cities and what that entails going forward, the evolution of AI and the applications of it in more practical settings such as urban planning, space time, and lastly, social life. So, first off, we looked at the transformation of urban America. This was a piece on how cities have evolved from their pre-industrial form into early industrial, into mass production metropolis, into post-industrial metropolis. And the main points are, we've evolved at sort of this rapid, continuous pace, and it's not always been healthy for the urban climate. And we look at how we're going forward into the post-industrial area, the post-industrial metropolis, and what that entails for the urban sprawl that we've come to expect from our future cities, what we need to do going forward, what the damages are. We talked about how climate change will affect this sort of thing, or mass production creating a lot of pollution, how it's not been very healthy for the evolution of cities. We've been stuck in this one sort of cycle. And the whole point of the article is how can we improve going forward? What's the next step beyond post-industrial? Next, we looked at revisiting the social life of small urban spaces. And this was an article about how a team is using AI to re-examine public spaces based off of William H. White's insights in his 1980 work. And they're looking at how they can use AI and other emerging technologies to better track and understand the dynamics of the urban space, such as they're using heat to monitor movement throughout the city, what channels people are using most often. And they're using that to understand how the city works as an organism. It's very, very complicated stuff, but they're sort of, bringing it to light, making it more complex because AI is still a very new technology. And they're sort of using these new technologies to give us more metrics, more understanding as we're moving forward into these techno cities, these evolving cities, the future city. These are the sort of metrics that we need to understand, and we need to use them more going forward. Next, one of our additional sources or additional resources, we looked at a letter to President Obama from his Council on Science and Technology in regards to future cities. And this letter essentially goes over the modernizing infrastructure, the evolving landscape, the evolving climate of these cities. They talked about the city web, which is this interconnection between cities, exchanging ideas, exchanging practices, exchanging industries. Things such as that are where allowing cities to evolve. And it's paramount that we understand the importance of these. I mean, you see cities like Los Angeles, Chicago, New York, they're constantly evolving to meet this demand for, improved life in general, the more sustainable city. They're trying to achieve the future city in ways that we haven't really thought of before now. And to see, President Obama being made aware of this shows that there are people who can reach these higher places and can help the people in power to understand the dilemma and what needs to be taken, what actions need to be taken to, solve it. We need to make sure that we're on the right track. And next we have Sam.
Yeah, thanks, Aiden. We also watched the crash course, which covered the geographies of the future, and she started the course by providing us with the term space-time, which is when basically the three dimensions of space are represented together with time. Basically, we learned how space and time are really becoming one, and the distance between different spaces are becoming insignificant. She referred to the face and that the time it takes for ideas and people to diffuse from one location to another is getting smaller and smaller, as we know from recent innovations. More and more connections, whether either economical, political, social, or cultural, are all changing in this globalized world as we see with our changing interactions. And we also watched Anthony Townsend's lecture on the Ghost Road. She talks about the future of technologies such as self-driving technologies and how they can do wonderful things for us, such as double waste and waste reduction. However, they also can cause troubles for our future since they have a huge amount of potential but also risk. And self-driving cars are basically just becoming the new form of transportation that can be self-propelled and self-guided. This is because they are more energy efficient and less wasteful than traditional forms of transportation. And then for additional reading, we read the article "A City is Not a Computer," which talks about the interaction between urban environments and technology. And the author talks about how challenging the understanding of cities can be understood and managed through a computational or technological view. She believes that cities should be understood as a more complete and dynamic system, which is influenced by social, cultural, and historical facts. Declan?
Thank you so much. So we're gonna roll into the Techno City, and this first booklet or um, just kind of talks about the different techno cities that we see in media and how they can show a potential future for sustainable living using these renewable resources. They make a case about Attack of the Clones, Star Wars Episode 2, the flying cars, and how there's no, like, you don't see traffic, you don't see all this stuff. It's just, you know, efficiency, and it's using renewable resources that make life easier, and it makes work and travel more efficient because you're spending less time doing, mundane things, or less time being inefficient in traffic jams and things like that. Next was the prospects of artificial intelligence in urban planning. It talks about how AIs in practical applications are still in the early stages. We see things like ChatGPT and other forms of AI that are learning and becoming more prevalent in our everyday society. But we can also see how it could be great help in areas such as transportation, in demographic analysis, or data intensive tasks, taking large numbers more than any person wants to be looking at all day long and doing it in, seconds, and how the adoption of this AI in fields can, yield more efficient analyses when talking about urban planning, when really getting in depth with planning our cities in the future. And then we watched a video about Mononcle, and the big thing that stood out to me with this movie was that we see the contrast between, there's like the technological house and the non-technological house. And what really stood out to me is that, what I was thinking about is like the class division about that. Oh, we're going to have these technological, if, we have these technological cities, we have these technological houses. What does that look like on a class scale? Are the, poor people, or poor countries, even on a global scale, poor countries not going to be able to afford things like this? And, how is that going to change the social, demographic, class division within countries? And, and how is that going to affect how people see each other? That's just something to think about when we are going through these technological innovations. And so finally, looking at everything in a broad perspective, we see that urban transformation comes with benefits, but also challenges, and we need to further study and explore those. Techno cities that we've seen in media bring exciting ideas for real world applications, especially as we enter the AI age. But we need to be wary for the accessibility of that for all people. And we need to, understand the risks and benefits with the use of, upcoming technologies such as AI, and consider all the different possible scenarios to be wary of a fair and just future. So thank you. This has been a great class, and just want to say thank you, Professor.
Thank you.